Welcome to Million Dollar Media. I am your host today, Joelle, and with me we have,
James.
Terrell, Franklin.
And Max.
as you may be able to tell, Max is feeling a bit under the weather, so I'll be leading us through this review of Project Hail Mary. Any sort of impression going into this? High hope, low hope?
I actually came in with low hope because I loved the book so much, and so like the director duo of this film, like they made good films. I just didn't know if they could produce this film, and so that was the expectation I came in, and the result of that is my expectations were heavily exceeded. So yeah, that's kind of like the brief of it.
Well, I'm glad. I think that I was somewhere kept completely sheltered from the trailer because James didn't want it to include any spoilers for him, so he was like covering my eyes whenever it popped up. James, how about you? Did you come in with low hopes, high hopes for this after seeing the trailer?
I came in with perfectly mid hopes for this movie. It's like they're gonna do a fine job. It's probably gonna get the main point across. Mess up Rocky. They're gonna mess up this, that, and the other thing. And so I just kind of came into it with like, it's gonna be a fine movie. But so yeah, I was kind of blown away. They did a fantastic job on so much of it. There's some things I like, and we'll get into it. But like, there's some things I like with how the oh my gosh, what's the word? I don't know. Interpreted the book.
Adapted?
Adapted. Thank you.
Yeah. How about you, Max? Any like 2-word thoughts?
I kind of, God, wow, I really saw I had really high hopes for this. Only because a lot of people who I watch on YouTube, other movie channels, were really praising this because they saw clips of it at CinemaCon last year. And they were saying like this is going to be the best movie, so I had a really high bar. And then I did a little deep dive into who was all behind the scenes of this movie. So you got the directors of Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs and the guys who wrote Spider-Verse movies. Yeah, you have the writer of Drew Goddard, who did The Cabin in the Woods. You got the director of photography, Greg Fraser, who did the Batman and the Dune movies. You got a book written by Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian. And then you have a score by Daniel Pemberton. So when I heard all of those people were going to do a movie together, I immediately was like, oh, this is going to be good. At the very least, it's going to be entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally reasonable given that kind of like perfect storm.
I think the interesting thing about the fact that these guys did it as well, they were supposed to do the Han Solo movie, like Solo, and then
I did not know that.
Yeah, and they directed half of the movie, and then they got fired.
What?
Yeah. Apparently Kathleen Kennedy did not like what she was seeing, and it wasn't the thing they agreed upon. Like, it was too much of a comedy. And so they fired him from Solo, and you could judge Solo on your own. But I think that this movie is a big middle finger to Kathleen Kennedy in that way. Of like, you think we can make a space movie? Watch. So
yeah, that's fair. And I feel like that was the point that they were wanting. Picking up an Andy Weir book as the basis for the screenplay is a great choice.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit. Trey did message me. You said something about this in Interstellar.
Yeah, it's very comparable in like the premise of like, shoot, Earth is having like a very big crisis. We need to send the most underqualified person out there in order to save the world. But even though I would say Andy Weir as a writer, he does write hard science fiction. This film itself, even though like there's like hard science, it's not as hard as Interstellar was. It's not as trying to like it catches you up to speed, even if a lot of these terms are unfamiliar. And I think it just did a really good job with not trying to be smarter than the audience or not like insulting the audience's intelligence in some ways. Also in the way of like how visually, outside of like flashbacks, which were also visually unique, but like in the space sequences, it was like visually comparable in its own unique way. And then like, the director's using like practical effects instead of like too much VFX. It hits home a little better.
On that point on how it approaches science compared to Interstellar, do you think that opens up the audience to more people than it would have otherwise? If they had gone for more direct adaptation using all of the hard science that's in the book, they kind of like trimmed it down.
I would say yes. As a big like sci-fi fan, there's like a school of thought in sci-fi to where like they're trying to be as smart as possible and as almost like dull and removed as possible as a commentary on current society. So even though sci-fi is genre, like sci-fi films are genre films, a lot of sci-fi creators try to make them more adjacent to non-genre or like more like drama rather than
Hmm.
genre. And usually that does not work out as much because it ends up being a kind of love child merging like the Venn diagram with another subgenre, whether it be horror, whether it be romance, whether it be drama like that. And so like with this kind of like overlap, like purposely making this like this is a sci-fi about like an existential problem, but let's make it a little funny, but let's also make it hopeful. It is, I think it does its job, and it's like not trying too hard to be something that it's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
I agree. He made it really accessible while also making it hard science, and I really appreciated that. I think he struck a really good balance of like not insulting the reader's intelligence, but also making it accessible. And I think they did a decent job adapting that to a movie, but I did feel like it took away a lot of the explanations for things, and Ryland Grace felt more, in my opinion, felt more like a scientist in the book than he did in the movie. In the movie, he felt like a teacher who was good at science. In the book, he felt like a scientist, a failed scientist that became a teacher.
Hmm.
Yeah, to add on to that, especially like I mean, they did a good job at not making this movie 7 hours long. But like a
True.
big part of the book was like him figuring out that he is not on Earth.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he has like a really really good scientist mind at the beginning of the book, and we know that. And he's like
Mhm.
something irritated me about the way I fell, and then he started doing like calculations. He did it over and over again and started writing the result on his arm. And
Mhm.
he's like the gravity right now is like harder than Earth's gravity. That doesn't make sense. And so he figured out that he's somewhere that's like it can't necessarily be on Earth unless he's like at either a different elevation or a centrifuge.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about.
That I really loved about this. Many sci-fi media don't really get into is really an anatomy at like the structural level. And so in the book, they get into so many different realms of science between like chemistry, astrophysics, obviously, like even biology, and gets to like the specifics of alien biology and what totally different planet would produce as a life. I thought that was really interesting part of the book. And I'm a little bit sad that it wasn't in the movie, but I think that it was a good call to just keep it to little bits here and there. That was something that kind of made it stand out to me as far as transition from the very hard science fiction to the softer science fiction that we see in or at least a smoothed out fiction. What did you guys think of the visual effects and like the shots they
Mhm.
For me to find out that the whole Petrova line shot where they're trying to like get the samples on planet Adrian
Mm.
was like practical effects, and then they actually had infrared lights and they had to filter that, and Gosling had to act like he was literally experiencing something that he couldn't see. Was that was because when I first saw it, I'm like, wow, that's a crazy shot. I'm like, even if it was VFX, which I assumed it was before I learned about it, I'm like, wow, that is an intense shot. Like that's crazy. And then to find out that they had like these little like nodes everywhere in order to make sure this happened, I'm like, this is insane.
That's really
That's
cool.
nuts.
Yeah, the visuals were pretty interstellar, if you will.
Oh
They
god.
it's one of those who brought this. So
I know.
I remember seeing the like planet Adrian. I was just like, whoa, that's really cool looking. And I think we have this idea that I think sometimes we mix up the fantastical and reality in such a way that we think that those beautiful things can't exist. And then we look at actual planets that actually exist and we see some pretty amazing thing. And so I was looking at the visualization of it. I thought to myself, like, could actually be what it looks like. It was just one of the coolest thoughts while watching this film.
I really appreciated the way they filmed stuff like in outer space. Like a lot of times you get these space films that use like a really big thing to show like scale. So like in movies like Gravity, you have the Earth to show how big it is compared to like little Sandra Bullock who's just floating out in space. And then when you get like Interstellar, you have this big black hole to compare their ship to just show like how massive these things are. But what I really liked is that throughout this movie, you just get a lot of shots of the ship just floating out in outer space, and the way they manage to actually still convey scale and also speed at which these things are going at was really impressive to me. Because like when you just see, like, there's a scene in the movie where Rocky's ship is seen for the first time, and he's trying to get away from it, and it's funny, but you're also thinking like, wow, like in zero G and like the speed and stuff that they're going at here is kind of, it's hard to just imagine how fast these things are really going, because again they have to travel at light years.
Yeah.
They missed a huge opportunity by not releasing it on Parsec Day. Just saying.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
One of the
Literally
other
6
things
days off.
Yeah.
One of the other things about like the visuals is the flashbacks, especially like for maybe like up until we kind of understand exactly what's happening, the flashbacks, like I want to say until 70% through the movie, like the kind of like warping, the aspect ratio changes into like the wide form, but then like the screen shifts because the camera is like rotating. But even with that rotation, the movement of the blocking of the characters, like if it doesn't feel too unnatural, like it's like, oh, like we're spinning, like it's zero G, like if you want to make that interpretation. But also it's like we're spiraling and getting these memories alongside Dr. Grace, to where like I really loved that kind of aspect of it, because when we would flash back, we would like try to gain our bearings, and I feel like that worked as a double entendre for like Grace being in space and us trying to figure out these memories with him, but also just kind of piecing everything together. And like it, like everything part of those frames and the blocking of it, and when somebody's walking into it right before we get to like, okay, we're in flashback again, like that to me was very impressive.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I loved essentially the feeling that you were getting from it in this very intrusive way. Totally agree. How did you guys like their interpretation of Rocky?
I really liked it. I never read the book, obviously. I mean, that's kind of a running theme on the show. I didn't read. So I didn't really know what to think going in. But I just think the effects and the puppetry and the CGI used to like make Rocky come to life was really well done. And it was kind of hard to tell sometimes when it was a puppet and when it was CG. Because I think they just did a really good job just giving that Rocky those characteristics. And what I really just appreciated about the movie is that like it's a depiction of aliens that are just kind of quirky and fun, but also really intelligent. Like he wasn't an idiot. Like he was basically Grace's counterpart in a rock form. Like he was in the same boat, maybe not like as sad as Grace, but I just really liked a lot of the stuff they did with that character. And another thing that not a lot of sci-fi movies do that I really appreciate. Like a lot of the times it's humans having to put in a lot of the work to communicate. Like I think of movies like Arrival, where the whole point of that movie is to figure out a language. And it's more like the humans are putting in all the work to communicate. Where in this movie, Rocky was also putting in the work to communicate and work together. Like him on his own made that little device to see screens. Like Grace didn't help him make that. He told him this is how we see, but he didn't make that little device. So he's using his own things to help work, and he makes these little bubbles and little tubes and stuff that go around his ship to work together. I thought that was like a really, really cool communicating and like showing how important communication is. And I know that Phil Lord and Chris Miller are huge proponents of art in general, and I really appreciated the way that the way they communicate at first is through arts and little puppets. They're not puppets, but like little models.
Yeah,
I thought that was really sweet, and that like and how important really art is if you think about it, because it's communication at the end of the day. And I thought that was really cool. I mean, they don't like hit you over the head with it, but I just really like that theme throughout the movie of like, not only do you have to be like scientifically minded and like very factual, you need to think outside of the box. And by him being a school teacher, he thought of really fun and clever ways to communicate to someone. Like, I don't think a normal scientist would have figured out to, like, having tape visualize the numbers on a clock so that he can see 3D. Like, I don't think a non-school teacher would think of that. I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting. But I think I'm talking too much for... I'll pass the ball.
No, it's fine. I liked their adaptation of Rocky. I think that there's a part of me that's like I want it to be 100% accurate, everything, but I think they did a really good job. I mean, they got the appendages right,
Yes.
5 appendages, 3 fingers each, and so it was like they got everything that they needed to about him correct. I liked the music that he makes, or the sounds that felt real, felt
Yes.
like it's a whistle through, which is what would be if he's a rock. And that was really, really cool. And I think they got his personality mostly correct. There's some things that like just didn't have which like the whole eating versus sleeping pattern.
Yes.
Yeah. In the book, they do watch each other sleep for that reason. They're basically paralyzed. But in their culture, like eating is gross. They eat and poop through the same hole. And so it's not a social thing. Like
Yeah.
the Iridians by themselves. That's something that like I just don't know why they switched.
I think it was more for like the shock value and comedic effect.
Yeah, definitely.
They used it more for comedic effect than to show off differences in culture based off of life form and conscientiousness than Grace being all like a scientist about it. Like, I want to see you eat. He's just like,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
No way. You are so weird. It is really funny in book, but I understand that is very difficult thing to communicate with the characters that they already had for the movie.
I feel like Rocky's portrayal was very faithful as an adaptation.
I agree.
But surprisingly good. And in a way to where like I also recently saw a clip that Andy Weir was like he has the thing to where like he doesn't visualize things that he's reading. So he didn't really have like a specific look of what Rocky looked like. So when the puppet was finally made, he's like, oh, that's what Rocky looks like in my head now. Which is I think both like it's like a double-edged sword. It's both like a superpower for him to make adaptations, but also like that kind of sucks because a lot of people have like that vivid imagination and it slows down that production. The vocalization that he has is amazing. I think like the personality, like once the kind of text to speech or voice to voice, whatever, like comes on, I think that was very true because I also like experienced the audiobook and I think they did a really good job of like getting that like both robotic cadence, but the robotic cadence has a huge personality. Even like little details like fist my bump was hilarious to me. I'm like, oh, this is like a very, very, very faithful adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%. I really enjoyed both book and movie Rock. I thought that the effects for him in the movie were awesome. If I were to give any Nosy B, I wish that they would have him using all 5 of his limbs a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I do kind of miss the bits of impatience and sarcasm that we get in the book that give Rocky a lot of depth. But I think that they made that decision and it makes him more likable to a wider audience. And I can understand why they did it, and I'm doing my absolute best not to be disappointed.
I thought it was interesting they gave him a partner. It brought a little bit more stakes to the character, in my opinion, and gave him a little bit more depth. Unlike Grace, spoilers, he has something to lose. He's sacrificing something, whereas Grace really doesn't have anything to sacrifice. So, like, I thought that was a really interesting way to, like, give that character a lot more depth and have you care for him more. Just, I don't know, like, the moment you can kind of give something a want and a need and a love, pretty much. I thought that was really interesting. My little nerdy heart thought it was really funny when they named the planet Adrian. I don't know. I take it since you guys read the book, you got the reference, so I'll just say that.
the reference?
Well, yeah, his name is Rocky, and his love is named Adrian.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Rocky?
I have.
I didn't pick that up. I never picked that up. I can't believe I didn't pick that up.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I had absolutely nothing in my brain.
Okay.
Sorry to disappoint you.
I don't remember if like did they explain that like in the book, or did he just say Adrian?
He just said Adrian.
He just said Adrian.
Oh,
He didn't make the reference or anything.
I intuitively got the reference. Rocky is one of my like younger brother's favorite movies of all time.
Never seen it.
It's good.
I've seen it. So I should have gotten it. I feel
Honestly,
so dumb.
what's wrong with you?
And
Anyways, all jokes.
I thought it was pretty funny. Like that made me like that was like a really heartwarming moment for me because like, oh yeah, Rocky and Adrian, and I mean I've seen those movies, so I have a little bit of attachment to those characters, and it kind of brought us a little bit here too. Because if you know how much Rocky loves Adrian in those movies, it adds a little bit of like meta context of like, if this Rocky loves his Adrian that much, then oh boy.
Yeah.
Enough to name a planet after her. I think that's just really sweet.
that is.
I have a question for you guys. I'm gonna say that again. What did you think of Ryan Gosling in the movie?
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
Go for it. Okay, so I read the book in like about 2022. And once I finished it, I was just like, oh, this would be like, I originally thought it would be good as a TV show because there's like so much content into it. I'm like, this couldn't fit in less than 3 hours. And so I saw that it was already in production, and I saw that Ryan Gosling was attached to it. I'm like, whoa, like I'm like, because he is a good actor, but I just did not imagine him being Ryland Grace. Like I thought someone who would look like not as pleasing to the eye would be Dr. Grace. Like that's the best way I could put it. Like but like also I think he played the part very well. That like I believe it's him now. But I thought like somebody who would be a little more like Grizzly, but it's because he's not taking care of himself, not because he's just not like pretty
Pleasing to the eye.
Yeah. Can't really picture faces when I'm reading, but I was basically picturing Matt Damon the whole time. But that's because of Andy Weir and Martian. And so I'm like, I was basically what I was picturing. Once they released that once I saw that it was Ryan Gosling, immediately I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be good because like he can play the like he's taking it seriously, but it's also comic, and I think he did a really great job. I was really happy with Ryan Gosling. I actually agree with you though that thinking about it, it probably should have been someone a little less pleasing to the eye, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what to think. He just kind of like rolled my eyes. It's like he's in everything nowadays.
I mean, my eyes are pleased.
Yeah. Anyways, I can appreciate that he is like the kind of conventionally attractive person that draws in viewers, but I think that I agree that Grace should not have been. So, yeah, that's kind of my thought.
I'll say this. I feel like Ryan Gosling is kind of like one of those actors who wants to be a character actor so bad, but he's just too damn good looking or pleasing to the eye that he's stuck in leading man roles. So he does everything in his power to make those characters relatable. Like, I agree. At some points in this movie, I'm like, you're too damn good looking to be relatable, but I'm relating to you right now. You know what I mean? Like, he's just too down to earth, but I don't know anybody in my life that looks that damn good. So it's kind of unfair.
They did their best with the waking up from the coma scene, though.
I
They
agree.
really tried. Like I just thought it looked like Thor when he got upset after Endgame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. You nailed it.
No, I think like roles like this in The Nice Guys, he kind of plays like these bumbling doofuses who knows what they're doing. Like he's funny and and very quirky, but he has this layer of sadness to him that I really appreciated. And it's very much like other Ryan Gosling roles that I have seen, and I think he was really good for this. And I think he's also just really charismatic at the end of the day. And if you're going to be the only actor in your movie for like a good 75% of it, and I mean, the other character in this doesn't really have a face to work off of, you need someone with that level of charisma. And I think he did a really good job. But I will say,
I think I agree.
When you said Matt Damon, I did think that this character was really, really similar to Matt Damon's character in The Martian.
The only difference really is their major of science and their name. Besides that, they're pretty much the same character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What were your guys' thoughts on the karaoke scene?
All right.
I
thought the scene was sweet.
Yeah, I thought the scene was sweet. I would have no issues if they had spent more time with the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
feel like they basically made all of the characters way more likable than they were in the book.
The movie kind of makes her, for lack of a better term, like into like a neuro spicy queen, rather than like a ruthless, like I don't take any BS from anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Max.
What the fuck?
But like, she's like in a way like she seems more procedural and type A rather than just like, no, we need to get this done and the fate of the world's on the line, but I don't need to explain that to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that kind of karaoke scene kind of like it does soften that up in comparison to the book.
To me, it felt more like it was just sort of in line where she's the one in charge and she is very much like, oh yes, this is what needs to be done. She's much more soft-spoken, I guess. But that aside, I think that it is a moment with her character.
I only have one issue. And it's kind of in general with people who do karaoke. If you're going to have a song, pick one that people know. That way you're not just making it all about yourself. Just saying.
Max,
I'm pretty sure everybody knows Sign of the Times,
Max, that's a really famous song.
First time I heard it.
So where were you in 2016?
Max, this was on the radio like everywhere.
Everywhere.
I didn't know it was that popular.
Okay, this holds potential spoilers. What do you think was the best moment of the movie?
Oh,
I know this is a repeat, but like the like when we get the infrared mode on the Petrova line, like that to me, like I had like an actual audible reaction. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that was good. I think that personally, I'm torn between like that moment of betrayal where Carl's like the last person that Grace sees or he gets shipped, essentially, and fist my bump. Your comedic timing on that one was fantastic. And the insistence upon it. James, best moment.
That's a tough one. I have such a hard time with like the best moment of the movie type stuff. The whole visualization of Adrian I thought was really cool. I don't know.
Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
Max, the favorite moment?
I will say, just because I didn't like it at first, but it was the ending. It really grew on me.
Oh, I loved it. I was waiting for that ending because of the book. I know the book does it a little differently as well. And correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a little while, but the ending book-wise, I believe Grace has like a piano or something that allows him to like communicate tonally with the students.
Organ, yes.
Yes. And so I enjoyed that aspect of it because as opposed to like physical book wise, audio book wise, like we get to that like ending sequence to where we're not getting the translation of what Rocky is saying because Grace has known him for so long, he knows how to communicate with him now. And in the same way, that's what allows him to use this organ to communicate with these students. And I still kind of like the way that they kind of did it. Like visually, it makes a little more sense. Especially since they didn't go that deep into like actually that there's note progressions that equal each word that the book has, that it's just a whole different language itself. But I enjoyed it.
I did too. I will say that because they set him up to be more of a teacher than a scientist in the movie, I think that the ending makes more sense movie Grace than like the kind of school teacher feeling would have been for a book Grace. Like in the book, he is more of a professor, like teaching at a higher level, like this kind of university sort of thing, versus kind of the impression that we get in the film, which is that he's back at essentially a middle school.
Oh, interesting. I got the impression from the book that he was back at a middle school teacher.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And I think that that makes a little bit less sense because of how defining who he is at his end, it comes back around to, oh, he's not a scientist, just going to always be the teacher. All right. James?
I see what you mean. I don't feel like there's a lot to say about the ending. I thought they did, I mean, there's like some differences between the book and the movie, but otherwise I think they did a faithful adaptation. It's one of those moments where I'm like, this is a weird way to end the book. I'm not going to lie. And so I was watching the movie, like, are they going to end it the same way? 'Cause it's bizarre.
I had the same feeling of like, this is a really bizarre ending to this movie, because I didn't know where this movie was going. So I thought once they complete their mission, he goes back home. Like him going back home was already such a different ending that I did not expect because they made a point in the movie that he is not going to make it back. But what I liked about it, like at first I was really kind of taken aback by it because I was like, this is a little too bizarre for me. Like I think it would be better if he went back home. But the more I thought about what the movie was trying to tell and say was that like this guy has always been alone. Like they make a point that he couldn't really have a relationship with anybody at home. It just never worked out. And in the end, his own planet, his own people forced him onto this mission that he said no to. So they didn't even want him really. So him coming to the decision of like there's nothing really back home for me, and the one person who risked their life for me is about to die, so I'm gonna go back and save him. Like that worked for me so much more than if he just went back home, because then it would have been a sadder ending for me because he did all this work and he's probably going to be a teacher again, which would be good for him because he likes teaching, but like it wouldn't have been like the hero's welcome that he would wanted. Like honestly, him doing this, going through all this stress, I don't think he would have developed any like real relationship with anybody, and the one person he developed a real relationship with is light years away. So the idea of him basically saying, I'm going to go save my friend, and ultimately he gets to, at the end of the movie, he has a friend, he has people who look out for him, and he looks out for them, and he gets to teach kids. Like that is the perfect ending for this character. Honestly, it was bizarre at first, but the more I thought about it, I was like, that's actually kind of beautiful. Not many people can do as much as he does and then go off on a high. Like it's usually just kind of like you've peaked, but he didn't peak. He's happy. Like the grace you see at the beginning of this movie with the kids, he's happy, but he's kind of looked down upon. But at the end of this movie, he's just happy. Like his posture's changed. He's comfortable. Like I think Ryan Gosling did a really good job of communicating that.
Yeah, I agree.
And my brain chalked that up to differently because of the gravity.
Well,
sorry about that.
Scientifically, yeah.
But I think that you guys are probably more in line with how he's thinking.
I like that there's very, very different interpretations of it because like I'm a huge fan of both ways or all the ways of this.
I think that's pretty much all we were going to talk about. So thanks for joining us, everybody. I've been your host, Joelle. With me today, we had
James.
Terrell Franklin.
Max.
Thanks for joining. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And tune in next time for whatever the heck decides to put out. Keep watching movies, keep watching our videos, and have a great day.